Joey Graziadei made serious financial mistake during his time on The Bachelor. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation News. Fans, The Bachelor star Joey Graziadei may have found love on season 28, but it came with a hefty price. According to Graziadei, before starting his run on The Bachelor, he made an online purchase worth $100 on his credit card, but being on the show prevented him from paying it off in time. This led to a dramatic dip to his FICO score. I was at 730 and I went on the show and I had a payment from a credit card that I didn't answer for 2.5 months. I dropped like 80 points. Like, what the fuck? He said while on the Trading Secrets podcast on Monday. I went on a TV show and I come back and my credit score bombed. I was like, I can't even get into an apartment building. Jesus Christ, he explained. Since then, he is determined to reclaim his high score again. I'm just spending as much money as possible and that shit's going up. We're doing our job again. Graziadei is very generous with his finances as he offered to support his fiancée, Kelsey Anderson, during her transition period between jobs. I had to quit. We've been so busy. I felt like it wasn't fair to my job, juggling between all of this and not being able to focus on the project that was at hand, Anderson said, while on the podcast, explaining that she left her assistant project manager position to travel with Graziadei. So I ended up quitting. My boss was very kind about it all, and she was like, "If you ever want to come back, please let us know," she added. The leading man has already made his intentions clear. He doesn't want to relive his most painful experience and plans to find a wife. While sitting down with People, he spoke about the pre-recorded season and how he handled the drama that always transpires. He said, "In a situation like that, where any move you make is really pivotal, I think that me waiting until I had all the evidence and then making a decision was the best move on the chessboard." The reality star said the issues that arose taught him a lot about himself, but also the women after his heart. He realized that their maturity showed how much they wanted a family and long-lasting relationship. "It's really easy for somebody to tell you what they want, but I think that actions speak louder than words," he declared. "For me, a red flag is somebody who's too self-absorbed," he added. While originally worried about how she was going to support herself, her fiancé offered to step up. Part of it was that Joey was like, "No matter what, I'll help you if you need help in any sense," which, gave me a little bit of financial security because I was like, oh my God, am I just going to, what am I going to do for these couple months of? She continued, "I always want that security blanket and I want that career, for me, regardless if it's full-time or part-time, because yeah, with the opportunities that come. But I would say if I don't fully like it after 6 months, I'd probably quit."
The bright
6
lights
months
of
to
the
a year.
Bachelor mansion had always dazzled viewers on their screens, but for Joey Graziadei, the glittering facade hid a far more complicated reality. On the surface, he was living every contestant's dream: roses, romantic dates, and the chance to find love in front of millions. But behind the cameras, behind the charming smiles and flirtatious glances, a ticking financial time bomb was waiting to explode. Joey had always prided himself on being the responsible one, the guy who had his life together. Friends described him as grounded, smart, and ambitious, but reality TV often magnifies everything, good or bad, and Joey's biggest flaw was about to become impossible to hide. It all started with the excitement of opportunity. When producers approached Joey with the idea of joining The Bachelor, he saw it as a stepping stone, a golden chance to build his personal brand. Little did he know, behind the cameras, there were temptations, subtle pressures, and high-stakes decisions that would test him in ways no boardroom ever could. The first hint of trouble came not from a rose ceremony, but from an extravagant opportunity he thought was harmless. Early into filming, Joey received a call from a trusted acquaintance, someone claiming to have insider investment knowledge about a tech startup that promised guaranteed returns. Joey had always been cautious with his money, but there was a new confidence in him now. The fame, the adjuration, and the sudden influx of attention had created a bubble of invincibility. And so, in a moment that seemed small at the time, he wired a substantial sum to this mysterious startup, convinced it would multiply overnight. At first, everything seemed fine. The startup's representatives were charming, persuasive, and constantly reassured him that he had made the right move. Joey even bragged to a few of the other contestants about his smart side hustle, trying to impress them with his business acumen. But the first red flag appeared when he realized he had been asked for additional investments, supposedly to secure his VIP membership in the program. Joey hesitated, but the fear of missing out, combined with the competitive energy of the mansion, pushed him to comply. As weeks passed, the stress began to mount. The producers noticed subtle changes in Joey's behavior. Where he had once been easygoing and witty, he now seemed tense, distracted, and preoccupied. Cameras captured fleeting moments of anxiety, a furrowed brow while walking to the rose ceremony, a vacant stare during cocktail parties. No one outside his closest circle knew the real reason. Joey had made a mistake, but admitting it would risk public humiliation. The internet was merciless, and he feared headlines questioning not just his judgment, but his character. Meanwhile, the financial pressure intensified. The startup, which had promised returns, was suddenly plagued by delays and vague explanations. Phone calls went unanswered, emails bounced, and legal paperwork seemed deliberately confusing. Joey realized with growing horror that he had likely been scammed. The mansion, ironically, became both a sanctuary and a prison. On camera, he smiled and charmed. Off camera, he wrestled with panic. Every luxurious date, every romantic sunset, reminded him of the money slipping away, money he had worked hard to save, now disappearing into the ether. By the midpoint of the season, Joey could no longer carry the secret alone. Late one night, he confided in a fellow contestant, someone he trusted implicitly. They listened, shocked, as he recounted the entire sequence, the initial investment, the additional payments, and the terrifying realization that it might all be gone. You can't just let it ruin you, but maybe you need to act fast before it gets worse. Joey nodded, but knew action was easier said than done. The public, the cameras, and the fear of judgment created a tangled web. He wanted to save face, but he also wanted justice, and fast. Little did he know, the mistake would not only jeopardize his finances, but threaten his reputation on The Bachelor forever. The turning point came during a pivotal rose ceremony. As Joey reached for the rose, he felt a surge of anxiety unlike anything he had experienced. The cameras, as if sensing his inner turmoil, seemed to linger a little too long, and then a text arrived. It was from the startup, or whatever was left of it, a terse, alarming message that confirmed his worst fear. The company was insolvent, and his money was gone. Every dollar. Gone. For a moment, Joey froze. This was more than a financial hit. It was a betrayal, a blow to his sense of control and security, and worse, it could become tabloid fodder, turning his life into a cautionary tale for viewers and fans alike. What followed was a delicate balancing act. He had to maintain his public persona, charm the cameras, and continue competing for love, all while dealing with the private devastation of his financial disaster. He sought advice from mentors, financial advisors, and even legal experts. Each conversation brought new insights, new angles, and new worries. He began documenting everything, preparing for potential litigation, and learning hard lessons about trust, risk, and the deceptive allure of too good to be true deals. Despite the chaos, Joey refused to let it define him. On camera, he smiled, laughed, and even flirted with an ease that concealed the storm within. But behind the scenes, the experience reshaped him forever. After filming wrapped, the story inevitably leaked. Entertainment blogs and gossip columns caught wind of the mishap, spinning narratives that ranged from naive blunder to reckless irresponsibility. Joey knew he had to confront the story head-on. In a heartfelt interview, he opened up about the excitement, the mistake, and the lessons learned. "It was the biggest financial mistake of my life," he admitted, "but it taught me about trust, about responsibility, and about the real value of resilience." The public reaction was a mix of sympathy and shock. Fans admired his honesty, while critics questioned his judgment. Yet through it all, Joey emerged wiser, more grounded, and ultimately more self-aware. Joey's story became more than just a Bachelor scandal. It became a cautionary tale. Financial literacy, critical thinking, and the dangers of impulsive decisions were now intertwined with the glamour and drama of reality TV. He took steps to rebuild his finances, invest wisely, and even mentor others who might be tempted by flashy opportunities. The lesson was clear. No amount of fame or charm can shield you from the consequences of a misstep. And while the cameras had captured only a fraction of the story, Joey's experience lingered as a quiet reminder to all. Behind the roses, behind the romance, the world of The Bachelor is as much about navigating life's pitfalls as it is about finding love.